How's everyone doing? Did you have a good UDS? Did you get a lot done? Did any of you send me a Wham CD? God damn it. All right, this has been a wonderful, wonderful event. I don't know about you folks, but for me personally, I think this is my 11th UDS, and this has been the best UDS in my mind that we've ever done. We've had such an incredible group of people here. The sessions have been productive. There's been a really great atmosphere. So I just want to, everyone, give yourselves a round of applause for coming along. So the goal of this wrap-up session is to just basically summarize some of the key points, some of the key decisions that have been made. You're going to be obviously seeing a lot more of these points as the months progress and as the weeks progress. So we're going to have some of our leaders step up and summarize some of these things. We're also going to have Rick Spencer's going to get up and talk about some closing thoughts as well. But before we go on, it's a sad time for Ubuntu right now, because we're mourning the loss of Andre. For those of you who didn't know him, Andre was the leader of the Brazilian Loco team. He was also a leader of the Brazilian Portuguese team as well. He was just incredibly passionate about Ubuntu, and unfortunately he passed away yesterday. So many of you will have known him. He was just an incredibly vibrant force in the Ubuntu community throughout the Brazilian teams, and he brought Ubuntu to so many people. So just before we go on and we get on with the rest of this, I'd like to ask everyone to just stand up for a second. Let's observe a moment of silence for Andre. Thanks, everyone. All right. Just for those of you who did know Andre, we've got a book here, and we'd like to ask all of you folks to come and sign it. Even if you didn't know him, if you just knew him online, then feel free. At the end of this wrap-up, the book is there. There's a pen in there. Write some nice messages. All right. So we're going to start with our first wrap-up. The man, the legend. Hands together for Martin Pitt.
Yeah, thanks to everyone. It's been an incredible UDS, like as usual, very well organized and very focused discussions. And despite like this general theme of stability, we still have a couple of changes to make. So, of course, the general focus areas of the desktop, as well as everyone else's, we want to make the multi-monitor experience a little less broken, or in fact, working right in some cases even. And we want to eliminate the remaining instances of having text in your boot. So not necessarily completely flicker-free, because that just doesn't work on some occasions, but at least get rid of all the ASCII out. We want to catch up a little bit again on boot speed. So we have regressed quite a bit there since Lucid, and we have some grounds to reclaim there. And then, of course, bugs, testing, and more of that. But as I said, there were some changes which we made. First, there is a little bit of cleanup to do on the control center. So as you may have noticed, most of the settings there are actually embedded. But for some of the Ubuntu-ish specifics, Ubuntu-ish control settings, they currently spawn a separate window. So we are going to get rid of our current language selector, at least for GNOME, and fix the upstream one to provide the missing bits, primarily the iBus support and the installation of missing packages. And also fix appdaemon to actually install missing language packs if you install a new package, instead of just waiting for the notification to happen. We eventually plan to get rid of the GDK system config printer GUI as well, but this won't happen in Precise yet. So otherwise we are going to regress functionality too much. We want to get rid of the GNOME screensaver and instead use LightDM for the lock screen management to get a more consistent user interface. Yeah. Of course, the most interesting discussion happened around the music player. And it seems that finally we are going to switch back to Rhythmbox for various reasons. Yeah. Which, as a consequence, will mean that we suddenly have 30 megabytes of CD space because this will drop mono. Yeah, and of course, like there have been some usability concerns about Rhythmbox, but we are definitely going to address some of those. So we will spend some development power of improving the user interface. So in terms of GNOME, so for the most part, we are going to stay at GNOME 3.2, what we had in the Lyric. This served us quite well in Netty, and we can concentrate on like stability instead of continuous integration of GNOME 3.4. Although we will update the base libraries, so like glib, GDK to 3.4 to give developers an up-to-date development platform. And we might consider updating some selected applications. Finally, there will be some fine-tuning of Unity, or providing a method of configuring Unity. Some improvements for Gripper to provide smooth scrolling and possibly Google Plus integration. And finally, some Unity creator design enhancement. And last but not least, like this is a shared effort with the foundation team. Like Evan is going to work on the crash database, and I'll probably help out with the app port side a bit. And so for you, this will hopefully mean that like 90% of the crash reports that you have to upload to Launchpad just to be told we already know about this as a duplicate will hopefully go away. It'll hopefully tell you right away that we have this crash already, and you don't need to upload the 50 megabytes at all. Thanks.
Thank you, Pitt. All right, the largest man in the room, I suspect. In terms of height, certainly. Oh, Christoph. The man, the legend, don't make him angry. It's Robbie Williamson.
All right, test. Okay, so it's LTS. So we're not doing anything new for server because that freaks a lot of server users out. So it's more about refining and fixing bugs over the 4 main things that we released last cycle, which was a lot. Cloud integration, so you have OpenStack. It's about syncing with the Essex release, which is fixing bugs, adding some key features that production level deployments are going to want it to do. Orchestra, which is our deployment and install tool. More about adding some additional features to that people have been asking for forever, and as well as cleaning up the install path of the cloud so that you can be able to deploy not only the cloud, but other workloads, multi-server workloads from the installer itself. Some really cool work being done on that. Beyond that, there's ARM servers. I'm sure you all heard about the announcement with HP. That we are eagerly awaiting hardware to really start banging on that. I mean, so it's a continued effort of really what we did started last cycle and working really closely with the Ubuntu and ARM team, and I'm sure Ali may cover some more of that. And finally, Juju, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's a tool we released. Pushing forward on making Juju ready for production quality deployments, and for 1204 the focus is on being able, I don't want to get too much detail, but being able to do things with co-located services, refining some of the open bugs that are limiting deployments for production. And I guess the fourth thing is charms, growing the charm community. There was an awesome charm school, thanks to George Castro, Clint Byram, and Mark Mims for leading that, and the others. The awesome Dustin Ninja team of SI folks, Mark Clouet and Juan Negron. Yeah, and those did it. Sorry, I talk longer, but I got to pee. Thanks.
All right. So next up, speaking about ARM, is Ollie. Put your hands together.
Hi. So first of all, thank you to the desktop team for removing Banshee. That costed us like 2 man weeks every cycle to even get it running. Then, thanks to Mark, who announced TVs, set-top boxes, tablets, and everything, that will likely all be ARM. So we will be helping a lot with that, and it will make us break down under the workload, I guess. What we did beyond that this week is, you might have been here last year and have seen Mark announcing that device in his first talk. That had so much momentum that we now have a channel for the device alone that has more people in it than the Ubuntu ARM channel. They all use Ubuntu ARM on it. They all use our user space, and we suddenly have a community taking care for bugs and helping us testing, which we didn't before. So that gave us the idea to revive the whole thing with a different device, because all the work we had to put in here was a wee bit to make the images built on our image system. The rest came from the community. So we will build up a community device support system where people can push for a device. Then we initiated, we have since years people asking us for dropping init-RDs, because in the embedded world and in the ARM world, init-RDs are not popular. It looks like all the teams I talked to were very much in favor of doing that, and that will shove off seconds from your boot time, even on i386. Robbie already announced that we will do clouds and Calxeda. We worked a lot on benchmarking server stuff, so 1204 should rock on the server on ARM. A lot was talked about ARM server management, IPMI, and so on, stuff that didn't work before on ARM. Has been made working, but can be improved, and that will happen. And I think that's all from my side.
Thanks, Ollie. All right, so community now. I'll put that down. We had an absolutely awesome week in the community track. I just want to thank everybody who came to each of the sessions. We covered a lot of ground, and I think we've got some really good outputs. We based a lot of the discussion this week on the community survey that went out to all of the Ubuntu members, and we had some insightful feedback come into that survey. One particular area where we focused was on recognizing contributions. This is found by our membership as being a very motivating component of participating in Ubuntu, is when someone says, thank you, appreciate what you do. And also helping people are seen as a really motivating element as well. So we got together with a bunch of the leaders in the community council and the local council, some other teams as well. And we talked about building more of an appreciative culture in Ubuntu and making this more commonplace. So we'd like to certainly encourage all of you folks, you know, when you see someone do something cool, just say thanks. And if you can write it on a website, that's even better as well. We're also talked about some techniques that we can use for coordinating this through like through some blogging and through some other social media resources as well. So I think that's going to be a useful piece of work. Some great sessions this week with the design team. This was something that was highlighted in the survey, was a feeling of wanting to engage with the design team. So first of all, the mailing list. Ayatana, zip. Yeah. So it's going to be divided into a couple of other lists, and it's going to be focusing more on Ubuntu as opposed to Ayatana. There was also a discussion of a lot more about content opportunities, things such as the community contributing wallpapers and things such as that, which is sometimes dropped off the radar. So there was a lot more focus on that. The other very popular sessions, of course, were around televisions and tablets and phones. There were some great ideas shared there. Each of the participants in those discussions were noting things down about potential areas where Ubuntu could succeed. And also connected to that was the idea of experiences. We talked a lot this week about building community teams to deliver incredible experiences, such as streaming music from your computer to your television and things such as that. So there was some really great content there. The application review board met this week, thanks to everybody in the board who showed up, and there was a lot of discussion about how to break down some of the bottlenecks that have initially formed. There's a lot of focus going in there. A lot of passion in the ARB, and thanks to the new members who've joined that board as well, and to Alison and to Stefan for driving much of the discussion. Developers was, as usual, a key component, thanks to Daniel Holbach for all of his efforts here. Daniel's been putting together an advisory board, which won't be a formal council or anything like that, but just a group of passionate people in the community to help him build continued growth with developers. There was discussion more about his weekly developer updates, which have proved very popular for onboarding people. And also continuing the work on Harvest, which is often a first port of call for people who want to get started with Ubuntu development. First, for this UDS, which we've never done before, was a leadership summit. We had this on Tuesday afternoon and Thursday afternoon, where we invited everybody, and particularly our leaders in the community, to get together and discuss a series of leadership topics. And we discussed a lot of stuff. We came out with some really great and concrete actions as well. And this is about, some of the highlights there were identifying opportunities in the community where people can participate, improving the on-ramp to how people get involved, how we can continue to grow and support leaders. How do we make our leaders feel like they want to motivate and inspire our community? Because as our community grows and continues to expand, as we go after 200 million users, we need a lot more leadership. So there's some really great next steps there. There's the discussion about the appreciation elements, and there was a lot of talk this week about how we encourage a culture of constructive criticism and not just rampant bickering. The bickering thing was highlighted in the survey as one of the key demotivating elements, is people not being constructive when they express their feedback. So we had some great next steps there. And then we also talked about the long-term support release and how derivatives work with LTS releases, and bringing the technical board into a more implied role there. Of course, George has been doing a great job kicking off the Charms community, the Charms School. He's going to be chasing after every single one of you who's got anything to do with a server to get you to write Charms. And then finally, application developers. David Planella is a total rock star. So, a lot of great work going on there. David, as well as the design team, as well as John Ox and a bunch of the web team, did a great job with developer.ubuntu.com. And they've been talking about developer.ubuntu.com. Oh, that sounded ominous. Uh-oh. They've been talking about developer.ubuntu.com too. This time it's personal. And they're going to be building out the next iteration of that. And we also had some great representation from Nokia with Qt as well this week, so we had some good sessions there. All right. Didn't. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Rick Spencer.
Right arrow. Thank you. Okay. I was bracing a sec for a moment there. So this was a really cool UDS, I think, because there was an interesting mix, and that was there was a richer proportion. There was a richer proportion in this UDS of sessions about how we develop Ubuntu, not just what we're doing in Ubuntu. And I think that's because there's this really shared desire and push to make 1204 really rock, like really be a solid pangolin. Actually did find an image of a stone pangolin. But it turns out not everything that is very solid is ugly. So some of the changes to the development process that were brought up and that we're moving ahead in this 1204, I just want to touch on them real brief because I think it is going to change our experience as contributors to Ubuntu and 1204. So I want to thank everyone who worked on the idea of acceptance criteria. So this is thinking more rigorously and applying more rigorous processes to how we move new code into Ubuntu, so we don't see it we don't see it slowing our velocity, and everyone can stay at a higher velocity. Another area was a test suite. So this is really exciting. Really saw the QA team come on really strong in this UDS. I don't know, is anyone here in any of the QA-led sessions, like in Gemma's sessions? These were some of the tightest sessions. So I think we're going to see really soon a set of test suites that are run frequently, that we're using that feedback to make Ubuntu better. And then finally, the last notion here was this notion of daily quality. So there was a lot of discussion about how to make it so every day you can upgrade Ubuntu and keep working during the development release. Every day that you're on the development release, there is an ISO that you can install and test. And this should give us a much different experience in 12.04 in the sense that every day we should have development velocity. Everybody should be able to work in their areas without other areas bringing them to their, slowing down slowing down your work. I don't know if that happened to anyone during 11.10. This is a really, really cool thing that's happening here. I think what we're seeing is all of us have been working together for 7 years. And all that collective wisdom of everything that we've tried, everything that we've put in, all our blood, sweat, and tears, all of our intelligence is coming together to make 12.04 a really different release. And I think besides being a rock solid release when we do it, it's going to be fun to develop. And I'm expecting everyone's going to be just super proud of this release for the next 5 years. So I guess thanks everyone, and have an awesome time tonight at the party. So.
All right, just some final things before we get going. So tonight we have a party to celebrate. All right. Some of you will come dressed as superheroes. The rest of you will be mocked. So the party's happening tonight. It's going to kick off at 7 p.m. This is going to be the joint UDS Lunaro party. It's going to be taking place in the Caribbean Ballroom, or a translation, the Caribbean Ballroom. From 7 p.m., food and drinks are going to be provided, so it's going to be a good time. You're going to have, of course, the All-Stars band will be playing tonight. Oh, yeah. We're also going to have some karaoke afterwards, which is always a good time, and then some DJing. So just big thanks to some of our sponsors for supporting the party. VMware, round of applause for VMware. They've been fantastic. All that great food. Of course, we love our friends, the Rackers at Rackspace. Give them a round of applause as well. And finally, thank you to Google as well for supporting us tonight. A few quick logistical things. Number one, don't miss your flights. There's always one. Don't be that person. You can book your own travel if you miss it. So if you have a good time tonight, set your alarm clock. My tip is that you ask reception to call you. That usually works. That's learned from Hardlines. You have to check out by 11 a.m. You can leave your luggage at the hotel reception if you're flying later that day. They'll look after it. They'll give you a little tag so you can go back and get it. We're going to send you a survey. We do this every UDS. We're really determined to make this the best event that it can be in terms of a productive event, a really social event as well. So your feedback really is vitally important in us doing that. So you're going to get another survey link sent to you. So please look at it, fill it out. There's going to be a survey from us. If some of you went to the Lunaro sessions as well, there's going to be a survey from the Lunaro team as well. Please submit your expense claims by Friday the 2nd of December, if you want to get it. Also, there's shuttles to the airport. You can book your ticket directly with a hotel concierge, ideally 24 hours before your departure time. So if you're flying tomorrow morning, you probably want to get down there pretty quick and get your shuttle booked. And I think that's it. We'll see you tonight. Thank you, everybody.